That was by far the best episode of Solo Leveling yet. What an absolutely incredible episode. Like, my gosh, where do I even start? Where do I even start? The action was fantastic. The animation was fantastic. The music was fantastic. So many little twists and turns within there, getting some more insight into the world itself. A rising of an actual human being. We're actually having our first arising of a human. The list goes on. Like, I absolutely love this episode. Yeah, technically it makes sense, like, having this moment where he can finally talk to one of these individuals on the other side, talking to this elf. Yeah, technically he's going to get a little bit of insight into their systems, which, yes, in this episode we kind of reveal, hey, why are you acting like a human? We're told to kill humans. Was that right there? that intrigued me. I'm like, wait, so they're being told to kill the humans, which, yes, technically makes sense. Every time they go through these gates, they're being attacked by these individuals, or monsters, so to speak. But right here, there's actually somebody that he can communicate to, which, yes, the system is allowing him to communicate to him. But yes, having this, we're supposed to be told to kill humans. You're not human. Why are you disguising yourself as a human? We're told to do this thing. And yeah, technically Sung's just kind of, equating that the fact that I'm notified as a player. But yeah, that kind of intrigued me there. Which, if we kind of think back to the original beginnings of this whole story, what happened to Sung? He was on this double dungeon, and at some point he's like being killed, and then it's asked, hey, do you want to do this whole thing? Do you want to become a player? And that's where everything kind of flipped for him. But yeah, you can possibly question there, did Sung as a human die? And then he's basically been transformed into one of these things. He's been transformed into something of a being of this world, and he's going into our world. That's a good question mark there that could technically come up to something later on, that Sung this entire time, this entire story, ever since that beginning moments of his story, he's been sort of, let's say, a zombie. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it like he's been recreated in this world to now infiltrate our world. He's still training in their world, but he's coming to our world as still a human, but he's never actually human. Now, yes, I can go on Sung's perspective here, where it's just really an aspect of, I'm considered a player, not a human that's invading the place, but it sort of intrigues me there. It sort of does make me kind of question if he's not even human anymore, which technically makes sense to the idea of how he's able to build himself up, which this entire time we sort of kind of just equated to, well, he's a hunter, and hunters of this world are becoming stronger, but it could be that, yes, he's in an entirely different system. He's in a system that is fabricated from this other world. So that did kind of intrigue me there, but yes, also going to the idea that these beings of this other world are sentient in some way, and they're being told by something to kill these humans, that they're being drawn to there to fulfill this role that's being given to them, which, yes, you can assume is the system of this other world, which I've kind of talked about before of, yes, possibly having all these gods in this other world. And this one particular one is currently puppeteering Sung, giving him the system and giving him a way to build up so that he can get stronger. But with the idea of him being perceived as not human anymore, I'm starting to more go to the idea of possibly this being that originally made Sung a player might possibly be one to get him stronger under the pretext that he's doing it in their world, which he has to get stronger. And eventually one day will tell, here's your next challenge. Go kill the humans. Go to the other world, go to your world, and kill everybody there. It kind of makes me question. It kind of makes me question there. But yeah, that little conversation with the elf was really interesting. And then, yes, at some point in that conversation, yeah, he was basically going to say, let the other ones go. Give us them and we don't have to fight. Very interesting there that he'd be willing to kind of not do that. But yes, the moment that Sung's questioning, who are you? What are you? Basically, yeah, him saying, glitch. and that little program in the thing itself resets, which that starts to make me believe that is it a possibility that everything in this other world, in this gate, is a glitch, is a program, basically. And he just told him to go against that programming, and he got reset. Almost like this entire computer system or whatever, seen that there was going to be something to be said there, and cut it off and reset it to where it didn't see what Sung said. Reset its mind before what Sung questioned him, and then replay out the scenario. That kind of starts to lead it towards an idea of it all being some sort of a virtual world, so to speak. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, there's a lot to go into this episode. I don't even know where I'm going to be jumping all over the place. I'm sorry. From the very beginning, yes, technically, we did get a little spot of the tank guy. He's not doing too well. He sees out everybody's doing really well, thinks that everybody's working against him, has to turn into a derpy bad guy. I knew he was going to turn into a derpy bad guy. I mean, he was a kind of a derpy bad guy in the last episode, but yeah, now he feels betrayed that everybody wasn't keeping all the supplies from him. He's been freezing. Who's working against me? You knew that guy had all that equipment. You're working against me. Yeah, Sung shows up, just slams him in the ground. And then, yeah, later on, having him try to kill Sung in the midst of a massive battle that he's probably going to die into, but because it's Sung and Sung betrayed him, he's got to kill him in the middle of the battle. I don't know how that works. It's this kind of mindset that typically kind of makes me go, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like if I kind of see the scenario, now it could be that he just didn't really see the battle unfolding around him. He just seen nobody but Sung, and so he thinks, I'm going to kill this thing. Either way, yes, him running up there and Sung telling Igris to basically kill him and then arising him and bringing him up. So that means that he technically now has I think he was an A tier. I think he was an A rank. I think Kim was an A rank. So now he has basically an A rank minion underneath him, which I don't think is anywhere near Igris, but still a really powerful ally that's like a tank type. It really does heavily imply this thing does not want to listen to Sung's orders, which I'm curious if that will become an issue later on. So far, it gave it a little bit of sense that he was going to fight back against Sung. Like right after he summoned him, it didn't seem like he wanted to listen to his orders. But what I assumed happened after that, which, yes, it kind of confirms later on, is it seems like his desire to get revenge for everything he was put through technically overrode it. Like his desire to kill this elf was something that drove him to like, okay, I'll deal with being his minion because I want to kill this more. And he starts slamming the hammer in him over and over again. He's like, you got to chill out. You got to chill out. Oh, this is going to be a problem, isn't it? He just starts looking at Igris. He looks at Igris, and Igris is like, don't ask me. I ain't a part of this. And then he looks to the stupid mages. The mages are like, yeah, let's join it together. It's like these. It's got like the different statuses of different minions that he has. He has like the very stoic and very powerful Igris. And then he's got the mages over here that are all crazy. And then he's got now Irons there. He's just wanting to have fun. Really dorky. But yeah, the core thing there, which is kind of honestly frightening, and it gets into a little bit later, is yes, this is obviously possibly, if they get into it, going to have a psychological toll on Sung. Not only did he kill somebody out of self-defense, which he's done before. He killed, again, Huang. He killed Kang, and now he's killed Kim. So he's killed 3 times now. Well, technically that entire party of Huang, but still. 3 times he's killed. He's done the act of killing. But not only that, but presumably extracted the guy's soul and has now put it under his service, which is, yes, kind of freaky. I would say that it's probably like the heat of the moment. He's in, he's being sandwiched between 2 forces that he doesn't really have a choice at this moment. And that was like a split-second choice to, well, I'll just go ahead and kill him and utilize him in this battle in order to survive. But there still is like ramification there that I'm kind of curious if they'll actually get into. That I think they did decently well in the first season based on what I read alongside the actual adaptation. But there's obviously a lot of heavy burden that would place upon a person. It gets into it a little bit at the very end where he's going, I tried 3 times to get this elf and now I killed 3 times though. But I don't know. I'm very curious if this will ever be something the writer will really kind of address in a very serious manner, or if it'll always be one of those things of like at some point, very briefly, he goes, oh yeah, I did that. Back to the normal. Back to my new waifu that now wants to go exercise with us. Yeah, he just bagged himself. He bagged himself Han. I knew that was coming from the last episode. That girl had the doki looks on her face, and she watches him like beat all this crap and looks super badass doing it. Of course, she gonna be all super doki. You saved my life. I will dedicate my entire life to you. The age-old trope of doki doki, you saved my life. I'm going to dedicate my entire life to you. After that extremely traumatizing and near-death experience, Jungwoo-kun as Dorky, I'm sorry. You knew it was coming, though. I kind of assumed that Barco was going to be a situation that he was going to be able to overcome it. Because, yeah, he kind of indicated at some point in the fight, okay, yeah, all of his minions are pretty strong. But at the same time, I can kind of handle that. He's got all of his minions are handling that. The problem for Sung was really Barca. That Barca was this being that was so strong, he was going to beat him. And even with Igris, he was going to be a difficult challenge. That's why he had to create Iron. And then at that point, having the three of them, which again was technically, I think, remember, an A rank, him, and then Igris, all three at the same time, just to take down Barca, I kind of assumed he wasn't going to be able to use it on him. And yes, as we see, 3 times it failed. So I kind of seen that coming. It kind of implied the idea that the moment that the whole battle ended, he turned sour. My assumption was because he failed to turn that guy. And yeah, didn't feel like he got enough out of it. Even though he got tons of levels throughout the entire experience. And yes, he turned over an A rank to be one of his minions. And all the bears. Apparently, despite all of that, he didn't get much out of that whole thing. He just got a stupid dagger. He's walking out of that gate with a brand new A rank minion, a whole bunch of really powerful bears, a new dagger, and he's still mad. He's still mad at the end. And yes, technically an underage waifu. He got a girl that's going to dedicate her entire life to him, but he got nothing out of that whole dungeon. But yes, everything outside of the dungeon, that kind of played how I was assuming it was going to play out, but it twisted it quite a bit there. My assumption was that Huang and Bake was going to fight each other, but it looks like they ended up getting stopped in the end. But yes, that was Huang sitting there saying, when's he going to come out? What's going on here? What's so special about this guy? Obviously, On's not going to answer him. He gets really mad. Then that's when Bake, kind of steps in there and says, hey, you need to chill out, dude. He's like, dude, we're going to get literally an S rank battle happen out here. And they almost did. But then, yes, Wu ended up stepping in there. Well, at least he was honest in the end. In the idea that, yes, I acknowledge that this Sung guy probably didn't kill my brother. He kind of assumes at this point that it was probably that rich boy. It was that rich boy from that construction company. But yeah, that the only reason that he's really doing all this crap is just because he wants an excuse to kill somebody. Which you could do that back where you came from. There's literally plenty of choices. If you just want to kill somebody, you could do it. But no, for some reason, it's Sung. Sung's the one that he wants to kill. But no, Sung ended up getting saved by text message that apparently something came up and Huang left. Now, I'm curious if it's going to be a thing where he gets... I'm going to assume that he maybe have gotten contacted by somebody higher up, or he got contacted by a friend or somebody that he actually, would listen to. I don't know who would actually make him want to leave that location. So we'll see there. But yeah, I do like the fact that when Sung kind of walked out of there and they noticed that, yeah, Kim's not there. Nothing but the low ranks are there, which again, I think the girl with them was a B rank. So yeah, B ranks and lowers were all with him. He wants answers, and Sung's like, I'm tired. You ask one of your guild mates. He's like, hey dude, 6 of my people died in there. You're going to answer my questions. That's a threat. Sung makes a good point. You got to keep in mind that, yeah, I got the remaining 2 of your guildmates out of that dungeon. Where's a little bit of respect here? Kind of surprised that Bake actually stepped down at that point and backed off. But that aside, I will say this sort of whole situation has put such a spotlight on Sung. I think we're at the point now where we got to stop acting like this is a secret anymore. Because yes, they kept it a secret long enough. The idea of doing these secret missions off the side, having somebody with the white tigers kind of, working with him. Now that Bake's pretty much 100% has to know at this point that this E rank has defeated a red gate. He's obviously powerful in some way. I don't think this secret can be kept under wrap anymore. I think going forward, it can't be kept under wraps anymore. Which does have me a little bit concerned here, because with Bake telling that guy to recruit him no matter what, it does imply that Bake is not going to be aggressive with Sung. He's going to leave it up to On to just recruit him. He's not going to push him for answers or try to push him on what his actual power is. It could still end up turning into, and I can see this being with Huang as well, is I can see them probably going after his sister. I think after this episode, I'm pretty convinced that somebody is going to go after Sung's sister, which does suck. Which, technically for somebody that is as powerful as he is right now, their best option right now in order to either force him to join a guild or to get at him in order to harm him in the situation with Huang is probably going to be through his sister. Maybe whoever texted him probably let him know that. Like, hey, if you want him to come to you, go get his sister. I don't know. If that was the case, he would have just stayed there. He knew where he was coming. That's a bottleneck. If I want to get to Sung, I just wait here. He has to come out eventually. I don't know. We'll see. Anything else? Holy crap, this episode. This was a really good episode. I am very surprised. I think this turned out to be not only just like the best episode of Solo Leveling yet, which for me is not saying a massive amount. I do enjoy this series, but never have I ever had an episode that's like that had me edge my seat the entire time. Like that was an incredible episode. I thought 13 was really good as well, but this was like, again, through and through, so many good reveals, so many twists, so many turns, and overall just so beautifully portrayed. I did get a kick out of the fact they were like, this guy wants to fight you. He said that one of you is strong. He wants to fight dead. I was like, okay, what else? Did you need anything else from me? Can we part ways now? I will have to admit, the fact that that thing glitched and reset, it could be an aspect of something that's really powerful, reset his existence to undo him hearing what Sung said. But if that does sort of indicate a glitch aspect of like a reset of a programming, that does kind of bother me because I don't really necessarily want this to turn into this is a digital world. I really do hope this doesn't turn into this is a digital world they're going into, like a VR server somewhere else where everything's programmed, which I guess it technically does play into my theory on the idea of Sung being a player and him having all these consoles and whatnot that pop up in front of him. It's very gamey-like, but I don't really want it to turn into a game world. That kind of sucks. I like the idea of it just remaining to be an alternate dimension, but it's probably going to turn into being a game world. I mean, it makes sense again to the idea of him summoning things out of an inventory and having a shop and everything like that. I don't know. I don't like the idea of it all in the end being a video game. But the whole idea of him being a player and leveling up and all that kind of stuff technically leads it to this writer is going for, yes, the fandom that likes video game-like stuff. I wonder if in the end Park's going to end up talking to Bake about everything that happened in there, even though she was told by Sung not to really ask questions. I don't remember if he said don't tell anybody. I think he did, but I don't see her not being able to tell her boss, especially Bake, what happened in there, which is not going to really tell them anything different other than the fact of getting an idea of what Sung himself can actually do, if she can actually figure out what the hell happened there. Again, he's summoning dark monster bears and crap flying everywhere and everything. It's hard to really say. I think he summoned shadow bears. I think he summoned Shadow Knights, and I think something happened in there. They were watching from a distance and just all hell's breaking loose. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 14 of Solo Leveling. Really fantastic episode. It has me super hyped for the rest of this season. I honestly was hoping that this episode wouldn't be that great because I had like 2 other videos to do today. But after watching that episode, I'm like, we're going for 3 videos a day. I gotta talk about this show. Anyways, that's my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what's the episode. Am I off base? Was this the worst episode ever? Let me know. If you're new here, subscribe before you leave so you can get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's here. I'm doing first impressions of all the shows of the winter season. So if you want to get an idea if it's something you want to watch, definitely check those out. If you like this content and you want to support channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I'll take care.